You're not broke because of bad luck. You're broke because your brain is wired that way. And that's not an opinion, it's neuroscience. That might sound harsh, but it's backed by real research. Scientists studying decision-making, behavior, and financial outcomes have found that people who build wealth don't just act differently on the surface. Their brains literally function differently under the hood. Same world, same economy, same access to information, yet completely different outcomes. The difference isn't luck, talent, or even starting point. It's how your brain processes time, risk, opportunity, and responsibility. And once you see this clearly, it becomes uncomfortable because it means your current results are not random, they're predictable. The good news? If your brain created your financial situation, it can also change it. Let's start with one of the most famous experiments in psychology, run by Walter Mischel. Kids were placed in a room with a simple choice: eat one marshmallow now or wait 15 minutes and get two. Most people think this is just a cute self-control test. It's not. It's a life predictor. Those kids were tracked for decades, and the results were brutal. The ones who waited, the ones who controlled the impulse for instant reward, grew up to have better jobs, higher incomes, stronger relationships, and fewer addictions. The ones who couldn't wait, lower earnings, more stress, more destructive habits. And when scientists scanned their brains years later, they found something critical. The part of the brain responsible for self-control and long-term thinking was significantly stronger in the waiters. That's the first punch to your current mindset. Wealth is not built by working harder in the moment. It's built by sacrificing the moment for something bigger later. If your default thinking is, I need money now, I need results now, or I can't wait, then you're not just making a bad decision, you're reinforcing a brain pattern that keeps you stuck. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. A study from Harvard Business School tested something most people never question. Why do some people always seem to find opportunities while others say there are no opportunities? Researchers put people, both financially successful and struggling, into identical environments filled with hidden ways to make money. Freelance listings, business connections, even subtle signals designed to reward curiosity. Then they asked a simple question: did you notice any opportunities? The results were not close. Over 70% of wealthy participants spotted multiple opportunities. Most struggling participants noticed none, not one. Same room, same setup, same chances, completely different perception. Brain scans revealed that wealthy individuals had a more active opportunity detection system. Basically, their brains were trained to scan for leverage, upside, and possibility. Meanwhile, others were mentally blind to it. That's the second punch. Opportunities are not rare. Your ability to recognize them is limited. And no, the solution is not to jump into 10 random things hoping something works. That's chaos. Wealthy people don't chase everything. They build strategically. They start with one stable income stream, make it predictable, then expand step by step. Not hype, not guessing, controlled growth. Then comes the part most people completely misunderstand: learning. Everyone says keep learning, but almost nobody does it properly. Research by Thomas Corley tracked hundreds of wealthy individuals over several years and found a pattern that's hard to ignore. Around 90% of them spent at least 30 minutes every day learning something directly useful to their goals. Not random content, not passive entertainment disguised as education, real targeted skill building. Meanwhile, the vast majority of struggling individuals weren't learning anything new. They were consuming, scrolling, watching, listening, but not applying. And here's the part you need to hear clearly. Consuming information is not the same as building skill. If you're watching videos, reading posts, or listening to podcasts, but not executing, you're not improving. You're just feeding your brain cheap dopamine while staying exactly where you are. Two people can have the same internet, the same time, and the same starting point. One builds a skill and starts earning, the other stays stuck blaming the system. The difference is not access, it's discipline in how they use that access. Finally, the most brutal truth comes from research from London School of Economics, where thousands of people were asked a simple question: why are you in your current financial position? The answers split people into two completely different mental worlds. Struggling individuals blamed external factors: the economy, their background, lack of connections, bad luck. Wealthy individuals pointed inward. They talked about their decisions, consistency, and persistence. Now here's where it stops being philosophy and becomes biology. Brain scans showed that people who constantly blamed external factors had a more active fear and stress center, the part of the brain that reacts, avoids risk, and seeks comfort. On the other hand, people who took ownership had a stronger prefrontal cortex, the decision-making, planning, execution part of the brain. In simple terms, one group reacts to life, the other controls it. That's the fourth punch. Blame is not just a mindset problem, it's a neurological trap. The more you blame, the weaker your ability to act becomes. The more ownership you take, the stronger your decision-making gets. If you strip everything down, wealth isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. It requires 4 shifts that most people avoid. First, you have to think long-term, even when short-term pressure is screaming at you to act fast. Second, you need to build one reliable income stream before chasing multiple ones, because scattered effort leads to zero results. Third, you must learn with intent, meaning every piece of information you consume should move you toward execution, not just make you feel productive. And fourth, you have to take full ownership of your results, even when it's easier to blame something outside your control. No excuses, no shortcuts, no fantasy thinking. Here's the reality most people don't want to accept. Your current financial situation is not a mystery. It's a reflection of your repeated thought patterns. If you chase quick wins, avoid discomfort, consume without acting, and blame external factors, your brain reinforces those patterns until they become your default setting. And once that happens, staying stuck feels normal. But flip those patterns, delay gratification, train yourself to spot opportunities, build real skills, and take ownership, and your brain starts rewiring in the opposite direction. That's when things begin to change. Not instantly, not magically, but predictably. So no, you don't need another hack, another trend, or another shortcut. You need to fix the way you think, because until your brain changes, your bank account won't.